Level 1, the rookie, the test. You're 22 years old. You just graduated from the police academy, top of your class. You wanted to serve and protect. You wanted to make a difference. You took an oath. You meant it. Your first day on patrol, your training officer is a 15-year veteran named Martinez. He's got dead eyes and a nice watch you know he can't afford. First week, you pull over a speeding BMW. The driver hands you his license and $300 bills folded inside. Your hand freezes. Martinez leans over. Just give him a warning. The guy drives away. You handed the license back. The bills stayed in your hand. Martinez doesn't say anything. He doesn't need to. You just took your first bribe. It was $300. You tell yourself it's not a big deal. Nobody got hurt. It was just a traffic stop. Psychology check. You're experiencing what's called moral licensing. You're a good cop. You went to academy. You help people. Therefore, this one small thing doesn't make you bad. Your brain is already building the justification. It's the first brick in a wall you'll spend the next decade hiding behind. That night, you can't sleep. You see the 3 bills on your dresser. You could turn them in. You could report Martinez. You do neither. You keep the money. You cross the line. And the line is so much easier to cross the second time. Level 2. The greedy rookie, the small timer. You're 6 months in. You've taken bribes 5 more times. Always traffic stops. Always cash. You're making an extra $500 a month. You tell yourself it's victimless. Nobody's getting hurt. You're just letting people off with warnings. The department gives you a quota anyway. You're still meeting it. You're still doing your job. But you're also learning the ecosystem. Martinez introduces you to the network. Other cops who take money. Dispatchers who ignore certain calls. Records clerks who lose paperwork. It's not a few bad apples. It's an orchard. One night, you pull over a drunk driver. He's wasted. He should go to jail. He offers you $1,000 cash. You hesitate. This is different. This guy could kill someone. But Martinez is watching. Take it or don't. Your choice. You take it. You let him go. 2 weeks later, you see a news report. Hit and run. The victim died. Same guy. Same car. You threw up in your bathroom for an hour. But you didn't turn yourself in. You didn't confess. You just stopped watching the news. Stopped thinking about it. Stopped being the person you were 6 months ago. Congratulations. You're not a good cop who sometimes bends the rules anymore. You're a corrupt cop who occasionally does police work. Level 3, the bagman, the errand boy. You're 2 years in. You've proven you can keep your mouth shut. A detective named Rourke approaches you. He needs a favor. There's an evidence locker. Some cash from a drug bust needs to disappear. You take $50,000 in cash from evidence and replace it with newspaper. The report says $5,000 was seized. Nobody checks. Nobody cares. Your cut is $5,000. You've never seen this much money at once. You're making $45,000 a year as a cop. You just made 1/8 of your salary in one night. And it was easy. Easier than you thought. Now you're the bagman. You move money. You move drugs from evidence. You move guns. You're a logistics coordinator for a criminal enterprise that happens to wear badges. Rourke gives you assignments. You execute them. You're paid well. You buy a new car, a nice apartment. You tell your girlfriend you got a promotion. She believes you. But you're also compromised. You can't leave now. You know too much. You've done too much. If you try to go clean, Rourke could bury you. If you try to snitch, they'd know. Cops are good at investigations, especially when the target is one of their own. Level 4, the enforcer, the muscle. You're 4 years in, you've moved up. Rourke trusts you now. He gives you a different job. Enforcement. A witness is cooperating with internal affairs, testifying about corruption in the department. You need to convince him to change his mind. You show up at his apartment, just to talk. You don't threaten him. You don't need to. You're a cop. You have a gun. You have a badge. You have power. You tell him it would be unfortunate if something happened to his family, if his house got robbed, if his daughter got pulled over and drugs were found in her car. He gets the message. He recants his testimony. The IA investigation dies. You just obstructed justice while wearing a badge. The irony isn't lost on you. You're supposed to protect people from criminals. You've become the criminal they need protection from. You also start working security for a drug dealer named Cortez. He pays you $2,000 a month to make sure police don't bother his operations. You tip him off about raids. You feed him information about investigations. You're on his payroll. You're a cop working for a cartel. Psychology check. You've reached cognitive dissonance overload. You can't be a good person and do these things. So your brain makes a choice. Everyone's corrupt. The system is broken. You're just playing the game everyone else is playing. You're not worse. You're just smarter. You convinced yourself that being openly corrupt is more honest than pretending to be clean. It's not. You're just a criminal with a badge. Level 5, the detective, the fixer. You're 7 years in, you make detective, gold shield, more pay, more respect, more opportunities to be corrupt. You're assigned to narcotics. It's the most lucrative division. Drugs mean money, money means opportunity. You run your own crew now, 3 officers. You conduct raids on drug houses, but you don't book all the drugs. You book half. You sell the other half back to dealers. You seize $100,000 in cash. You report $40,000. The rest disappears into your pocket. Split 4 ways. You're making $15,000 a month on top of your salary. You have 2 cars, a boat, a vacation house. You tell people you invest well. Nobody asks questions. Nobody wants to know. But you're also destroying lives. You plant evidence on innocent people. You falsify reports. You coerce confessions. A kid refuses to work as your informant. You plant a gun in his car. He gets 5 years. He was 19. He had a scholarship. Now he's in prison because you needed leverage. You don't think about him. You can't. Because if you think about him, you'd have to think about all of them. The lives you've ruined. The people you've framed. The justice you've corrupted. So you don't think. You just collect. Level 6, the sergeant, the manager. You're 12 years in. You get promoted to sergeant. You supervise a squad, 20 officers. You don't just take bribes anymore. You coordinate them. You manage the corruption. You decide which officers can be trusted, who gets brought into the network, who stays clean. You identify the rookies who will take money. You test them. Small bribes. If they take it, they're in. If they refuse, you make their lives hell. Most of them take the money. You also negotiate with organized crime. The Italian mob controls the docks. You meet with their capo once a month. He pays you $10,000. The Russian mob runs illegal gambling. You get a cut. The Mexican cartel moves drugs through your district. You're on their payroll too. You're making $30,000 a month in bribes, but you're also managing risk. Internal affairs is always watching. You communicate in code. You never use phones. You meet in person. One of your officers gets sloppy. He's caught on camera taking a bribe. A opens an investigation. You make it disappear. You call in favors. You pressure witnesses. The investigation closes. But you execute the officer anyway, not literally. You just make sure he gets transferred to the worst precinct in the city. A warning to everyone else. Don't get sloppy. Level 7, the lieutenant, the politician. You're 18 years in. You make lieutenant. You're not just managing corruption anymore. You're protecting it from the top. You have access to internal affairs investigations. You know who's being watched, who's under surveillance. You tip off your network. You also have political connections. The mayor's office, city council, the police commissioner. You've made generous donations to their campaigns. Donations funded by drug money. They owe you favors. When investigations get too close, you make a phone call. The investigation gets reassigned, defunded, closed. You're untouchable now, or so you think. You're making $50,000 a month. You have offshore accounts, property in 3 states, a lawyer on retainer. You've built an empire on corruption. But empires fall. An FBI task force is building a case. They've been watching you for 2 years. Wiretaps, surveillance, undercover agents. They have recordings, photos, financial records. You don't know it yet, but the walls are closing in. Psychology check. You've achieved what's called hubris. You've gotten away with it for so long, you think you're invincible. You think you're smarter than everyone else. But you're not. You're just a cop who hasn't been caught yet. And your luck is about to run out. Level 8, the captain, the boss. You're 25 years in. You're a captain now. You run an entire precinct, 300 officers. You control everything. Who gets hired? Who gets promoted? Who gets investigated? You meet with crime bosses like a CEO meeting with clients. You negotiate territories. You set prices for protection. You've authorized hits on people who threaten your operation. You've ordered murders. You're not a cop anymore. You're a crime boss with a badge. You're making $100,000 a month in bribes, but the money doesn't matter anymore. It's about power, control. You walk into City Hall and politicians stand up. You're more powerful than elected officials. because you have dirt on all of them. But you're also paranoid. Your own officers might be informants. Every meeting could be a setup. You carry a gun everywhere, even while off duty. You check your car for bombs. You've made so many enemies, you can't remember all their names. Then one morning, the FBI shows up at your house. 50 agents, battering ram, they have a warrant, they have evidence. You're under arrest for racketeering, conspiracy, murder, drug trafficking, money laundering. The list takes 5 minutes to read. You ask for your lawyer. They smile. Your lawyer was arrested an hour ago. He's cooperating. Level 9, the informant, the betrayer. You're in federal custody. You're looking at life in prison. The prosecutors offer you a deal. Testify against everyone. Give them the entire network, names, operations, everything. In exchange, witness protection, a reduced sentence. You take the deal. You're not going to prison for life to protect people who would sell you out in a heartbeat. You testify. You give them everything. The mayor, the commissioner, 50 police officers, 20 organized crime figures. Your testimony destroys the entire corruption network. The trials last 2 years. 40 people go to prison. The police department is gutted. The mayor resigns. The city is in chaos. And you get 15 years instead of life. You'll be out in 10 with good behavior. But you're a rat now, a snitch. The worst thing you can be. There's a price on your head. The mob wants you dead. You're in witness protection, but you'll never be safe. You'll spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder. Level 10, the prisoner, the fallen. You're in federal prison, protective custody, isolated from general population. Because if you go into Gen Pop, you're dead within hours. Corrupt cops who snitched, you're the lowest of the low. You spend 23 hours a day in a cell. No friends, no allies, no future. You were a captain. You had power, money. Now you're inmate number 847392. You wear an orange jumpsuit. You eat from a tray. You think about the oath you took to serve and protect. You think about the first bribe, $300 bills. You could have said no, but you didn't. And every choice after that led you here. You serve 8 years. You get out at 52 years old. No pension, no career, no identity. You're a felon now. You can't vote, can't own a gun, can't get most jobs. You work at a car wash for $12 an hour. Level 11, the nobody, the ghost. You're out now. You're in witness protection. New name, new city, new life. Except it's not a life. It's an existence. You can't contact your family. Your kids think you're dead. Your ex-wife remarried. You live in a 1-bedroom apartment in Nebraska. You work at a hardware store. Your coworkers think you're boring, quiet. They have no idea you used to be a police captain, that you controlled a city. But you're safe. Probably. The mob has a long memory. Every stranger could be a hitman. Every car that follows you too long could be a setup. You'll spend the rest of your life afraid. One day, you're walking to your car. A man approaches. He says your old name, your real name. Before you can react, he shoots you. 3 times in the chest. You die in a parking lot in Omaha. The local news reports it as a random robbery. It wasn't. Level 12, the warning, the truth. Here's what they don't tell you about being a dirty cop in stories like this. It doesn't start with a plan. It starts with $300 bills and a rationalization. It starts with just this once. It starts with everyone does it. And then it snowballs. Every compromise makes the next one easier. Every bribe makes the next one bigger. Every line you cross makes the next line invisible. You don't wake up one day and decide to be corrupt. You wake up one day and realize you've been corrupt for years, and you can't remember when it started. The psychology is simple. Humans are masters of self-justification. We can convince ourselves that anything we do is justified. We're not bad people doing bad things. We're good people in bad situations making practical choices. Except we're not. We're just bad people with good excuses. And here's the truth. Even the ones who get away with it don't really get away with it. That's not internally. They know what they did. They know who they hurt. They know they betrayed what they swore to protect. That knowledge doesn't evaporate when you clock out. This is a satirical, fictional psychology breakdown. Not a claim about cops as a whole. Most officers serve with integrity. And if you've got law enforcement in your family, this isn't aimed at them. This is about how power plus weak oversight can warp any human in any system. So, tell me,